everyone, my name is Andrew. This is the Canadian Starships live stream. Welcome to the live stream. First order of business, it's the housekeeping duties. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Leave me a comment in the comment section just to my right here. I guess it's right for you. It's left for me. But tonight so far, we have Captain Shellman. Hello, how's it going? We've got Jody here. By the way, Jody, I've got it set to go automatically to your live stream once this live stream is done. So we've got a couple people here tonight. And Jody says, hey, Andrew, loud and clear. Perfect. All right, we know that we are on. So that is exactly what we need to know. All right. So tonight I'm going to be working primarily on the neck of the Enterprise D here, where the secondary hull joins the saucer. And the trick there is getting the sensor band in line, because it's not in line when you first install the saucer to the neck. It's a lot closer on this one than it was on the one over here. But there's still a whole lot of work that has to happen. So we're going to be working on that tonight. I have my tea, Earl Grey hot. There we go. I also have my fizzy water from the Soda Stream. Funny thing, I clicked the video, the timer, intro video, and I took a sip of this, and it was as flat as anything. I had forgotten to actually make the fizzy water. So Following Ghosts is here, says, hi guys, well, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for being here. It is cooling down here. You can't see it, but you might be able to hear all the crickets outside. I don't know how that translates through, but it's nice and cool here this evening. So I've got the big garage door just over here out of frame, wide open. Get some nice airflow through. We've got David James here. Welcome to the live stream. How's it going tonight? What's everybody working on tonight while you're watching the live stream? I'm always curious what everybody's working on, because you know what I'm working on, but I don't know what you're working on. So what are you working on tonight? Trek Mod saying hi to David. Well, and Tommy. There we are. So far tonight, I am on my own. We'll see if that changes once some people get around. Everything looks good. Everything sounds good, I think. So we should be able to get going. I'm going to switch over for a moment to the handheld so that you can get a bit of a look at exactly what we're going to be working on tonight, because the overhead camera, which is right here, I'm trying a different angle tonight so you can kind of see a bit more of what's going on. I've repositioned the camera in the shop so that hopefully you can see what's going on this wheelie workbench, which I'm really, really happy to have the wheelie workbench. But you can't really see this area very well. So I don't know if I can reposition the camera again. I might actually be able to do that. We'll see. But for the moment, let me connect my phone to my streaming software here. Just have to turn the audio off. Get started. It should connect to my streaming software. There it is. Well, let me just get this positioned here, and then I'll be able to fade it over so you can see exactly the area we're going to be working on. I think the first thing we're going to need to do probably is connect up all of the wires. So we'll need to connect the wires and get them tucked inside, and then we'll be able to work on this area without all the wires getting in the way. So we'll set up the solder station. I probably should have set that up ahead of time, but we'll set up the solder station. And you can see this one here, it's not too bad, but it's not quite perfectly aligned. Let me flip this around here. I love having the wheelie desk. And here's the other one. This one's a little less, focus, a little less well lined up. This side was the trouble side on the other one too. So we'll have to do some work to get these to line up the way we want them to be lined up. And also there's some spots. If you look at, let me switch over to this one here, you can see how nicely those line up. And there's also a piece in there that's missing that has to be filled in. Whereas there's just an open sensor band running from saucer to neck. Oh, look how many Wonderfest days are left. There's a gap in between on the sensor band, which makes it a little bit easier for us because we can do a little bit of extra. We've got a little bit of extra wiggle room, and there's the other side there. That one was much harder to get to look decent on that side. So we've got to replicate the same thing here and over here, and that's going to take a good chunk of our time here. So let's go back to face cam while I move this back. There we go. And we'll see. We'll see if we can rig something else up, maybe, so that we can have a good look at what's going on. Oh, I always forget to hang up essentially the call between my phone and the computer. All right, back to the chat because we've got a bit more chat going on here. Wow, I Englished goodly there. Jody says I'm working on setting up my work area still. Ghost says, I just put the black wash on the Kit Bash X-Wing conversion. Captain Shalamang says, 172 Amati wooden HMS Vanguard kit being built as HMS Bellerophon. Andrew just finished up doing the round heads at front of ship, now doing some doors. Very cool. Dash is here. Howard, how are you doing? Technical difficulties, please stand by. Is that referring to my technical difficulties there for getting to hang up the call? Let's see. Dave James says, working on putting Wayne's phaser strips on my AGT Enterprise. Very cool. I've got to get a couple sets of those for some 1400s coming up here. I've got one set of his aftermarket, most of his aftermarket parts, but I got those before he had the phaser strips. So I do need to get the phaser strips, and I've got to get the one for the Wonderfest giveaway. Let's see. Jody's saying hi to Howard. Howard saying, so how are you going to fix the broken area? So I've already done an initial fix on it. So it's been epoxied back together. It'll need putty work to smooth out the crack area. But I'm also going to add a brace underneath. I don't have a lot of wiggle room, so I'm going to just rig up a bit of a brace underneath, either epoxy or JB quick weld underneath, just to hold the bottom side together to give it a little bit more reinforcement. So that's what I'm going to be doing there. But I don't think that's an on-camera job. Let's see. Ghost saying hi to Howard and Jody. Trent's here. Howdy. How's it going? Welcome to the live stream. Captain Shelming saying hi to Dash and Trent. And Jody's saying hi to Trent. There we go. We are caught up on the live stream. All right. So what are we going to do with those sections? And I wish I could show it to you better, but okay, let's see if I can play around with the positioning of the camera here. We'll see. You guys can't see that. Almost would have been better to have the camera in a different spot. I'm going to move. This is one of the issues with a large kit. If I move it around this way, no, not even. I mean, you can almost see it better on the face cam. Yeah, you can almost see it better on the face cam. What can I do here? Bear with me. Now, there's literally not a bear with me, but bear with me while I make some adjustments here. This is me trying to get the best view possible for you. Yeah, this is a problem with such a... Okay. I'm going to do some major moving around here. Un moment, s'il vous plaît. I thought this setup was going to work for me, but I'm clearly going to have to make some additional adjustments. All right. What if if I move the model down this way, and I throw the camera arm on here. We're doing it live, people. We're doing this live. Of course, I've got to unclamp this such a long way. Take an arm off. Gonna unplug this camera. I've just got to undo some wire feeding so I can get enough wire length here. So we should be able to do this. Here's the overhead camera. We're gonna stick this on here. Oh, this might actually work. This might not be so bad. One moment, please. Oh, it's reconnected. Okay. Here is that camera. Now I have to try to position it where you all can see it. How's the chat doing? Don't worry, I'll catch up on the trend. I'll catch up on the chat here in a moment. I just need to try to move this camera. There we go. Now you're riding along with the camera. And I can probably go on the other side of this to actually do the work there. So how's this view? Does this work for people to be able to see what we're going to be able to do here? Let's see. Captain Shalamang says, how are you doing today, Jody? Hope your back is better. Oh, was your back acting up? I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, I can also add my face in the corner here. Hi. I turned my key light off, so I apologize for it being a little bit darker. Let's see. Dash says, so these things are are more fragile than, say, a plastic model when you have to pull it apart if needed. Can be. It's definitely more brittle than styrene. That would be what I would say. It's got more brittle tendencies to it. People saying hi. Jody says he's doing okay. Let's see. Dash says buy more armatures, get more cameras. At some point, I want to upgrade my camera rig here. I'm working with what I've got, people. I'm working with what I've got. I'm really going to need to turn that key light back on. It's almost like it's a nacelle mounted camera now. Yeah, so I'm working with what I got. And Dash says same thing they had when shooting the bigger models. Friendly reminder, please hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Captain Shalamang says that's why Vanguard kit has mainly just been shorts now. Sure, how to record a video for such a large model. Yeah, it becomes interesting. Having the mobile table has made a huge difference. And I reorganized my entire workspace to accommodate, there's a camera, to accommodate having more open space for the rolly table. Yeah, working around the camera is a bit of a challenge. Not so much a problem for videos, which isn't why I haven't had a video out. The reason I haven't had a video out is because this isn't in paint stage yet. It's easier to manage for video content, for long format video format updates. I have been doing some shorts. I have been doing some short videos, and I'm just trying those out to see what people think. Stephen Haynes is here. Welcome to the live stream, and he's saying hi to everybody. Dash says, that's what I have a good idea for my shop if I get to the filming. What Andrew needs is a mount in the ceiling of his garage that can swivel 360 around from that ceiling. Yeah, I can do that. I'm looking at a different screen here. I can do that. The issue there is the cameras are all wired up, right? So that's the issue. Ideally, I'd have multiple cameras and something like an A10 Mini Pro that I could video switch everything with. Yeah, multiple cameras will be something I will look at later. I see outside the garage. I see outside the garage at your Tesla. Yeah, you can see one of them out the door there. If I do there, you can kind of see the Model 3 there. The Model Y is also in the driveway. And Jody says that view is fine. Yeah, I will. I'll move my chair around the other side to work on that, and then I can reposition everything when I'm working on this one. All right. So let's move this around a little bit. It's a bit jittery on the floor. I'll give you that. But hey, the camera sticks with the model. That's awesome. So we're going to get to work. Let's get the solder station out. It's been a while since I've had the solder station out now. And I can probably just set it up right here. Move some things around. I'll plug it directly into the wall here. There we go. Window masks. I had to do some cleanup work on the saucer rim windows. Actually, what I was going to do before I got into the solder work here, I'm just going to show you what I'm trying out for some short form content. Let's see. This is a short that I posted last night. And you can't hear that. All right. Nope, you can't hear that. So there's no point. Let's see. Because I'm getting audio directly from the microphone and not from my streaming software. I forgot about that. Oh well, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see the short on my channel. Okay, let's get this solder station powered up. Let's get some water on the sponge. Let's get some tea, Earl Grey hot. Let's see some chat here. So just a heads up, chat might be a little more difficult for me to look at because I'm on my own at the moment. You mean the short like the Strange New Worlds documentary? I saw that one. No, the Strange New Worlds documentary episode. Not the biggest fan of that one. Dash also says, I feel like cueing the Star Trek music every time you move it or the ship engine sounds. Yeah, very true, very true. All right, so we need to join all these wires and get them tucked in there. So we need to shorten them. I have a pair of wire cutters here on my desk. Got it. So we'll shorten, we will attach, and we will tuck. Nip and tuck, I guess, right? So we'll do the nip. We'll do nip on the orange. This was the only way I could really figure out how to attach the upper and lower saucer wiring together, was to do it through the impulse engine housings here. That's the problem with these saucers, right? Okay, I also need to find my solder. It should be in a drawer back here. Yes, it is. Got it. Oh, I almost tried to join a brown and an orange together. That would not have been good. So let's get these browns together. So I'm going to do the very simple twist and solder. So we're going to twist the bare wire ends together first. like so. Then we're going to solder them together. Like so. Then we're going to grab our shrink tube. I've probably put that away as well. No, I've got my scrap shrink tube over there. I'll grab some because I've got some scrap pieces. Put it over the end. Shrink it down. Pinch the end. Pinch and turn, seal it. And 1 out of 4 done. And plus there's, so there's 4 on this side, 3 on that side, I believe. All right. Dash says, I am waiting to see how you tackle the Excelsior class saucer. We'll see when we get there. I haven't even thought about that yet. I need to get this done. Also, the Excelsior is not here yet. I've got the Enterprise B, but I do not have the Excelsior yet. But the Excelsior will be on its way. Hope you get your NX-01 soon, Dash. Hopefully they get the address right for it this time around. It's no fun. All right. Hands in the way. Sorry, hands are going to be in the way here. Solder shrink tube. Pinch and twist. Kind of melts the end together. Moving on to the next one. On these, I'm not using a tool to strip. The 30 gauge wire is a bit of a pain to strip at times, and sometimes it's easiest just to use my fingernails. So I don't know about anywhere else, but up here, this coming week is the best week of the year. It's back to school week. And I'm looking forward to both kids being on the school bus this year. No more separate school bus drop-off pickup and daycare drop-off pickup. It's all one. I am looking forward to it. Go. I need to get some fresh shrink tube here. We've got some chat. David James says, I wonder how much interest Helios got in their Enterprise C kit. It's not my favorite design, but it's such a great looking kit. I'm tempted anyway. Yeah, I will definitely get one. But I have to wait until these are out the door before I can order one. I am getting a the version 2 of the Enterprise D kit because I do want to have one on hand in case somebody else wants one, or someday down the road I want to build one myself, for myself, I mean. I'm also curious to see how what the improvements look like in person. So I am getting that. That will be on its way. And I also want to get myself the Enterprise C because I've always liked that kit. Dash says, well, they boo-booed my NX-01. He screwed it up. He was going to open it up and check for any damage and then reship it. Yeah, they must have had a typo on your address or something. Initially, when I was first dealing with Helios, they left the S off of the end of Canadian Starships on the email for the web address, for the email address, and so I wasn't getting emails from them because they had mistyped my email. So we had to get that sorted out. Todd is here. Welcome, Todd. How's it going? Hope you're having a good night. We're working on Saucer Neck tonight, and I've kind of rigged up a new camera angle here to be able to have a look at that as it's being done. Dash says, I wonder, would Andrew do an Enterprise E if Helios brought one out? Also, are you going to check those are working before you shove them in? They've already been tested. They've all been tested, top and bottom, and I know that there's no issue with them being joined together. So I mean, I can, but I also don't need to because I have tested all of the lights and they are working. So that's already been done. Just joining the two wires won't make any difference. Darth Trent saying hi to Todd. So is Stephen Haynes. Everybody's saying hi to Todd. There we go. So I've got one more. Also, I should quickly get some portrait mode. Actually, before I do that, sorry, just a wee bit of housekeeping for myself. Okay, I just wanted to see where my videos from my phone sync directly to my computer through Dropbox, and so I just want to make sure I see where the next video for the next short is going to show up in the folder. So I'm going to grab some quick portrait mode video here. Okay, let's grab this. Make sure it stays in focus the whole time. Grab more footage here than I need because I will edit it down. There we go. Just have to remember to do that before I move too far along in the process. Also, I need to move my tea. Let's move this over a little bit. My tea got locked in. I'm almost out of tea in my cup, and I'm sure that the little bit I've got in there went cold. I'd also like to mention, in case you weren't here at the beginning of the live stream, we will be automagically switching to moving everybody over to Jody's stream once this stream is done tonight. So if you want to keep watching after 11 when this stream is done, you can just stick here, and we are going to automatically move right over to Jody's stream on his channel because he's starting once this live stream is done. All right, we've got some more chat. Captain Shalamang says, still haven't went and built my 1650 Excelsior NX variant. Been debating doing Aztecing or go with a clean hull build. I mean, if you want to take the plunge, go for the Aztecing because it looks so good. I mean, if you looked at, if you were here last week, we showed off some of Hagen's work on his Excelsior, and honestly, the paint scheme for those ships looks so good. So if you can do it, I would say do it. But I mean, it's your model. Do it the way that you want to do it. Huh. This wire is giving me some hassles. I'm going to have to do it the hard way here. There we go. Hopefully this next one isn't going to be as troublesome for me. There we go. We'll put these together. Todd, what are you working on tonight? Let's just shorten one of those because one was a little bit longer than the other. Solder this up. Hate when I get a drip on there. Let's get this one closed up. Then we'll move to the other side. Let's move this over. See if I can throw my chair through here. I've got this table connected by wires on two sides because I've got the solder station on one side. Actually, I'm gonna switch the solder station up because I don't like how tight this wire is here. Actually, let me shut it down first. We'll pull the plug. And we'll extend the plug. I think that'll be a little bit better. All right. And then we'll reposition the camera a little bit. And on this side, I can see the chat better. Where's my camera control? There it is over on this side. Not the best, but actually, woo! I almost lost my tea Earl Grey hot off the side of the desk. I have an idea. Of course, it's the wrong side to be able to do this. Whoop! Take me on a ride. One moment, please. Please stand by. Bit of a strange connection. Oh, yeah. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, this will make a little bit more sense here in a moment. I'm just going to flip the mat around. There we go. How's that? That's got to be better. To be able to see both sides here. We can straighten it out a little bit. There we go. We can zoom it in a little bit. There we go. That's got to be better. Let's catch up on the chat. Todd says, I'm editing Darth Vader pictures for the next 3 months of stages to write. Sounds like a whole lot of fun. Howard says, you had left last night before they read my chat about doing deep dives with Canadian Starships on movies and episodes, going through the old toss-up to Strange New Worlds with spoilers if people hadn't seen them. Could be fun. I could have said he's probably editing his million pictures. Yeah, obviously you were right. Captain Shelming says, one thing that is a pain working with wood kits is trying to figure out the different wood types when you're not fully familiar with what they all look like. Yeah. Dash says he needs Wi-Fi soldering, Wi-Fi battery-powered soldering station, right? That would be fun. Okay, let's move the solder station around where I can access it all. Okay, let's plug her in. But no, this mobile rolling work desk is definitely making a huge difference working on these big ships. Okay, so we've got 3 wires to connect here. We've got the main power leads and the data channel. So I'm going to do the data first, I think. And then we'll get that out of the way and we'll deal with the main power leads. I was going to refill my tea Earl Grey hot, wasn't I? I've got to say, this is where Phil's setup at Spruverse, where Phil's setup in his shop would really pay off, having the multiple cameras with multiple different angles and stuff, so that you can switch around. I don't think he does much as far as live streams, but he uses the setup for his videos. Howard says, well, Captain, also each species of wood reacts different to moisture and heat. Some are more stable than others. Oak ribs are pretty stable. I've noticed they use a lot of plywood for the ribs. Well, I'm sure plywood is certainly not true to the original, but I mean, plywood does have some good stability to it. As long as they don't start using glued together sawdust or particle press board. My dad used to be classified as a cabinet maker, which is just a level of woodworking, and he used to do essentially he did commission work, but in the woodworking world. So people would have ideas of furniture or things that they would want, and he would make it happen. So sometimes that's custom designed and made wooden beds. He made the cradle I slept in and my kids slept in. The bed my son sleeps in was the bed I slept in, and he's made custom spiral staircases. He's done restoration work in old churches. He's done all kinds of stuff. And he hates particle board. When our house was rebuilt after a fire in 89, one of the key things he was very particular about were the cabinets that were going in the kitchen, that they had to be real wood. So it was fine for the cabinets themselves to be plywood, but there could not be a trace of particle board, MDF, anything like that in those things. He was very particular about it. All right. Here we go. Where are my little scissors? Here's a pair. Throw the shrink tube on. And okay. Next up will be the positive lead. These ones are thicker wires. Because they're the leads. So a little bit trickier to get the insulation off on such short access points there. But we were able to manage to do it. Let's solder that up. Dash says, oh, some of these kits I've noticed use MDF, basically chewed up brown paper and cardboard. Yeah, like all glued together, pressed together to make pretend wood, right? Yes, not IKEA. One time you rack it, the whole thing goes into wobble mode. I hate it too, but most of your stuff now is particle board with veneer wrapping. Not much solid wood anymore. If it is, it's dollar signs. Yep, for sure. 100%. But, I mean, you pay for the quality. And if you're not willing to pay, you don't get the quality. Gonna need to go a size up on that shrink tube. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cap. So because it's a larger gauge wire, right? I'm gonna cap it with the thin stuff just in as far as I can go, which successfully covers most of the bare wire. Not all of it, but most of it. I'll shrink that down. Now that's not going to be good enough to protect it because we don't want to risk any sort of shorts. There we go. Pinch the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a wider diameter piece of shrink tube. We're going to flip the end of the small flip tube back over itself, and then put the larger piece of shrink tube over top. That way it fully connects to the shielded section, and we know that we're not going to get any sort of short in there. And whenever I'm using a slightly wider diameter shrink tube, I want to make sure I've got a smaller piece in the end, just so that it's fully sealed and we don't risk the end poking out at all by accident, and again, shorting anywhere. So that's that one done. I certainly didn't leave myself much wire on the ground cable here. David James says only wooden ship I'd like to build someday is the HMS Surprise from Master and Commander, just because I love the movie, but not sure if there are any kits out there. You know what? No idea. I have no idea what it is. Dash says, you ever want to build the HMS Victory, James? The one from Artista Latania? Spelling? Pronunciation? I don't know. Whatever Dash said. Russell Crowe movie? No, I've heard of the movie. I don't know that I've ever seen it, and I'm not familiar with it, so. This one's going to need the intervention of my small needle nose. Too small a space to get the wire strippers in. So we MacGyver it. Ah, no. And that was a bad MacGyvering. That's about as bad a MacGyvering as I could have possibly done. Now I have really very little wire to work with here. But I do believe I have enough. But this is going to be tricky. Where's my clamp? almost like surgery here now. Not impossible. Just incredibly difficult. And hopefully I haven't soldered. Hopefully I haven't soldered my surgical clamps. Well, that's one way to do it. Let's see. So I have to go Ian on you for not seeing Master and Commander. He needs an assistant nurse. Yeah. See, Trent says, you never go full Ian, Howard. Alex here. He's probably at work watching on his phone. How are you doing, Alec? Dave James says, I see I'm not the only one who always cuts their wires too short. Yeah, well, the problem I had is for some reason, the ground coming from the model ended up being a little bit too short. Why, I'm not sure. And so to match it up, I went and I did the other one, but the other one, because it's so close in, stripping it was an issue, and accidentally cut the wire even shorter. So it was just a bit of a surgical issue there to fix that. Let's see. Howard says, "Oh, full Ian, that would include chicken parm, a White Claw, and a toilet bowl. Sink." There we go. All right. Let's shrink that up. Ah! Hot! That was a little hotter on the fingers than I thought it would be. Because I heat it and then I pinch it with my fingers to seal it. And yeah, it was a little hotter than I was expecting it to be. Let's grab some portrait mode video of this side. Keeping that in focus. All right. Now, that means that we can start looking at these joints here. Now, the first thing, full disclosure, there's no way I'm getting all the work I need to do on these joints done tonight. It's just too lengthy of a process to get it to look right, but I will start the process. And the first thing I'm going to do tonight is add the material. So about this far in on this side and equally on the other side. We'll add that material in because there's supposed to be a break between this sensor band here and this sensor band here. Then what we're going to do once the gap material is in here, we are going to then start to reshape these sensor bands so that they line up, and that's what we're going to do. So let me clear the solder station because we don't need that anymore. Just going to clear it to the workbench behind me here, because obviously the solder wand itself is still very hot. And we don't want any accidents with that. Oh, I almost ran into my desk. So I used to have a carpet down here, but because I've got the rolly desk now, the carpet doesn't work because it would just hang up on the edges of the carpet because it was just a small carpet. So ever since I got rid of the carpet on the floor, I keep rolling my chair as if there's still carpet on the floor. So I end up going flying into things. Alex says, I'm looking into arrow straightening methods for my masts for the Constitution while at work. Okay, interesting thing to be doing while you're at work. You do you. Howard says, so do you have to be careful with the heat gun around that resin too? I've never worked with it yet. No, prolonged heat will warp the resin parts, but the heat gun for short periods of time won't do anything. If you left it on, it would soften up the resin, so you don't want to leave direct heat on it for long periods of time. Which also means don't dry it out in the sun. If you're painting it, don't dry it out in the sun, because you'll end up with some issues. Dash also says, so are you still keeping the seam line where the saucer and the cobra neck attaches, yet not as pronounced as we see it now? Yeah, so that's the goal. But there is obviously a gap. Let me grab my phone here. Let me throw it back onto Video Ninja here. And I'll give you a bit of a close-up look. There we are. So the neck, you can see there's significant gap, and it's been filled in right now with epoxy for the most part. But the shape of the saucer area, like the back of the saucer, isn't the same as the shape of the neck. Now, we lost the feed. We lost the feed. One moment, please. What happened there? It's not showing back up on my software. One moment, please, while I fix this technical difficulty. Oh. Okay. There we go. It's back up and running. So you can see the gap there is quite large. The shape of the back of the saucer doesn't line up with the shape of the cobra head. So work has to be done there in order to get that to look right. So yeah, I want there to be a separation line, but it can't be as drastic as this. Now, the shape, I believe, is something that they were working on fixing for the second generation model kit. So yeah, again, that's where we're going to be working on. This side is quite a step on that sensor band. The other side is not as bad. But I've done it once. I can do it again. So here we go. Now, I have to kind of be conscientious of the time because I don't have somebody here tonight reminding me how close we're getting to the end time. But we do have a decent amount of time left. So let's see what we can do here. All right, we're going to get the epoxy sculpt out. And we're going to sculpt, we're going to add a missing part inside the sensor band, because the sensor band is not supposed to run undisturbed undisturbed, no, undisrupted. That's it. It's not supposed to run undisrupted from this from the neck through to the saucer. There's supposed to be a break in that channel. So we are going to re-add that break using the epoxy sculpt. Before I do that, I'm going to refill my tea here. Howard, because you're interested in the crack, I'm sure that's a phrase that could be taken out of context in multiple ways. Something's going on with Video Ninja tonight. It's not seeing my back camera now. There we go. Just needed to be restarted, I guess. All right, so there's the crack for you. You can see that I've already done a bit of epoxy work there, and it's quite visible right now. It's not actually much of a gap or a raise there. I'm gonna patch it on the inside as well, but I have limited amount of space. Limited amount of space to work through the opening here to get that patched up. But I do want to reinforce that from the inside just so that we don't have any issues there. So that's just a little bit of a look at the crack there. All right, let me get StreamYard back up because I had to get. I am missing a camera. How? What? What? My face cam is still. Oh, somehow I've just minimized it. There we go. Oh, I thought I'd lost the camera, but the camera was still on screen, so it didn't make any sense to me. All right, let's see. Alex says, just looking to fix an annoying warp in the wooden mass when I get home, so I want to learn how the archers who made their own arrows fix the warps in their shafts. Got it. I understand that fully now. It locked up and went blank. Yeah. Set a timer on your phone. Yeah, I could do that. I just don't want to overrun and step on Jody's stream. All right. Okay. Let's get the epoxy sculpt out. Aves 2-part epoxy sculpt. I'm not going to need a whole lot of it here. This is great for building areas of your build, like for having to reconstruct areas, add more material in areas. So I've used it on the areas over here. You can see one here. You can probably see the one over here a little bit better on the screen. That's where the RCS thrusters are on the saucer. They didn't add the molded in detail, like the separation in the sensor band trough. So those had to be added in. So that was done with the epoxy sculpt. So I just sculpted. That's what I was doing on the HTM stream last night. I just sculpted it in there, shaped it up, trimmed it up, sanded it down, and looks quite decent in there. Which is something that Daniel said that they are also going to add in onto the next version of the kit, so you don't have to do this work for yourself. Alex says, and sorry for not recognizing you last night right away. Yeah, no problem. I'm just surprised that you didn't. I'm like, who else would be building this thing, right? Who else do we know right now that's building it? I mean, it would be awesome if other people were building it. Don't get me wrong, but right now it's like, who else is it going to be building it? It'd be awesome to see more people, see more builds of this, because I know what goes into it. Kind of looking at the other Enterprise D over there for reference on how far I'm supposed to take this, because I already did the R&D on it on that one. So I'm going to press the epoxy sculpt in. I'm going to use a variety of different tools during the process of sculpting it now. I am looking for my chisel blade. I don't know how to do this in the best way so that you can see, but I'm going to use the chisel blade to remove some of the excess material here. And actually, there looks like there's some hard material of some sort on here. I'll have to get that off first. There we go. I might need to add a little bit more. And this is really a go with your gut kind of process. Make it look right to your eye. Fiddle with it until it looks right. So I'm just gonna scrape this down flat. Okay. The more flat I can get this now, the easier the sanding is going to be later. There's a bit of a depression in this one over here. I'm going to add a little bit more material, press that in. Then again, I'm going to come back with the chisel blade and just carefully shave any excess I don't need off the top. There we go. I'm also going to come in with the chisel blade, and I apologize if this blocks the camera, but it kind of has to be done. And just clean out the saucer separation plane, because we do want a gap in there. There we go. That should be enough to indicate that there's a gap between the saucer and the secondary hull. I'm going to take one of the dental tools here. I really need to clean this off. I've got dried epoxy sculpt on. Clearly, I didn't look after my tools properly here. And I'm going to just backtrack and remove the excess and then clean up where I remove some material. I'm not too concerned about getting it perfect right now because it's actually a lot easier to square it off, clean it up. I'm going to just do the same thing over here, remove a little bit, square it off as best I can here. But I want it to be decently square, the right length. And I will come back in here once it is fully cured with a sharp number 11 blade and sculpt up the rest of the ends of these areas. Let me see if I can zoom this camera in a little bit more on this specific area so you can see what I'm looking at. Yeah. So I've just cleaned up the edge here and the edge here, and it's almost a full sensor band difference in height here between the sensor band on the neck and the sensor band on the saucer. So for the initial round, I've made sure that it's as flush to the surface here as I can get it. The edges are cleaned up as best as I can. Once it's fully cured, I'll come back in with a sharp number 11 blade and I will trim up those edges so they're nice and clean, clean cut, good on the edges. I do have to add some material over here to the top, so I've got a bit of a better, I don't have a step down here. I'm going to actually take down, I might take down the sensor band here a little bit, but mostly I'll deal with the sensor band by alignment by bringing this one over here up a little bit so that that line kind of visually moves from one to the other. I do have that extra little bit of give because there is the separation point here. So let's move the camera. And I'll have a look here at the comments in a moment. Let's move the camera to this side over here, and then we'll look at comments. Howard says, would taking, say, like cotton or some fiber fill and use it inside there to help your epoxy inside that crack to make it hold from breaking more like fiberglass and Bondo? Again, the issue is the space to be able to work in there. Very limited in what I'm going to be able to get in there. So I'm probably going to need to use something fairly solid, coated in either epoxy or JB Quick Weld. I'm leaning toward this, can't talk, leaning towards the JB Quick Weld because it is metal reinforced and also cures a lot faster than the 5-minute epoxy does that I have here. So I will probably use something a little bit more solid and kind of feed it in there, press it up against the cracked area and let it hold in there while it fully cures. Let's see. Alex says, I'll be honest, I almost thought you were Captain Chalamet for a while before I realized that you were you. For some reason, my mind was not thinking Canadian Starships and CS. Yeah, so I did that. Excuse me for a moment. I did that on the HGM stream because Canadian Starships is a fairly long name. I've also stopped putting the secondary line because what I'm finding is it takes up a significant, especially when we get 8, 9 people on the stream and the windows are very small. It covers a lot of the real estate on the screen. So if I just put CS, then it covers a lot less real estate on the little bit of screen space I actually get. So that's why I've done that. Let's see. What about the maple leaf? Sorry, Jody, I'm not sure what context you're looking at. And Following Ghost is heading out. Night, everyone. Not feeling well, so going to shut down. Going to shut down. All right. Following Ghost is an android. Got it. He's shutting down for the night. And Drew says later, Tommy, take care. Yeah, have a good night. Thanks for joining the stream. All right, I'm gonna switch things around and go to the other side here. Oh, let's take that. And Alex says, I think you meant your logo. Yeah, well, my logo's there. But again, I'm not putting my logo on the HTM because it uses up a lot of the and 37. Thanks, Howard. Thanks for letting me know there. I'm not putting my logo on because it again takes up the precious real estate. And there isn't a whole lot of it there. Gotta love the rolly desk. Now I'm gonna get, I still have some epoxy sculpt left from the batch I made, but I'm going to make fresh epoxy sculpt. Make a fresh batch because it's so much better the fresher it is. The fresher the epoxy sculpt, the easier it works, and the better time you're going to have working with it. Just refilling my tea Earl Grey hot. The Picard cups. The Picard cups are so small. They like a couple sips and you're refilling your cup. There we go. You know what? I think this is the setup to go with for the live streams, camera-wise, on this project at this time. Okay, so just getting my, I know you can't see it on camera, but I'm getting my 2 parts epoxy right now, epoxy sculpt. 2 equal parts. I have to store this stuff in Ziploc bags because I find, especially part B, has a nasty habit of drying up. So I've been storing it in Ziploc bags just to reduce the potential of it trying to figure out where is on camera here. I'm just kneading the 2 parts epoxy together now. Oh, I didn't get well, I'll get all the footage I need for a short on this side, I guess. What's Jody saying? To Alec, the Maple Leaf logo is a giveaway. Yeah. I don't think my Maple Leaf logo was on there. And Howard says, by the way, somebody could win over $1 billion by 11 p.m. today in the USA from the Powerball, or it'll go higher. That is ridiculous. What would one person do with $1 billion? I don't know what one person would do. Our lottery does not get up anywhere near that high here. I think the highest our lottery goes here is something like 80 million Canadian. I see on the signs and the windows of the convenience stores and stuff. We've got one that would sometimes go up as high as 80 million. Just getting some appropriate footage here. That was not very good. I'm going to try this again. Really should have this on the gimbal if I'm going to do this. Generally, I keep the gimbal for Wonderfest. There we go. Now let's get this laid down in here. I think I've got a bit too much of a separation plane gap on this side, so I'll have to deal with that. This is all the fiddly, time-consuming work that goes into these builds that people don't really like to talk about. It's not glamorous. It's just that stuff you have to do, and it takes forever. It's also the stuff that people who are in a rush tend to skip. But if you're patient, take your time. I'm probably going to have to build this out even more here, but right now I'm just getting these gaps filled in because there's a bit of a step out towards the aft on here that I'll have to smooth that out. But right now we're just concerned about getting the gap filled in here and the missing material back into the sensor band area. Okay, where is my dental tool? Oh, it's back on my other desk. I'll take this moment to check up on the chat. David James says, yeah, I discovered the perfect plastic putty also lasts a whole lot longer if kept in a Ziploc bag. And your working time with perfect plastic putty also it gets extended if you add a little bit of water to it periodically. It'll rejuvenate it. Dash says, well, we would ask Elon or Jeff Bezos. I'm sure I could make it last till I die. That's for sure. Yeah. Dash also says, of course, I'd definitely be commissioning some things, lol. And Alex says, lol, Howard, I can feel you looking at me as if to say, take notes, Alec, Frank, Ian, Junior, rap. I don't know what that means. I mean, $1 billion would be life-altering, and I'm not entirely sure that it would be life-altering in a good way. I mean, $1 million would make like $1 million would be life-changing. And that's $1 million Canadian would be life-changing. But $1 billion? Like, I don't know what somebody does with $1 billion. I mean, give a ton of it away? I don't know. Like, how could one person go through $1 billion in one lifetime? And I mean, these guys like Elon, Jeff Bezos, you know, some of the richest men in the world, they're only rich on paper. They don't actually have like the cash on hand, right? So it's all stock and investment and projected worth based on the value of their companies. So it's not like they're actually billionaires. It's just that on paper they are. And Todd says, oh, I have a plan if I win. I'm sure you do. David James says, honestly, I just want enough money to retire so I could work full-time on my models and maybe a bigger house to display them all in. Yeah, I mean, we could certainly use a larger house just because we're very tight on space now that we've got 2 kids, and my wife would love space to be able to have for herself for things. I've taken half the garage for this, but there's no like real great space for my wife to have like an office or a workspace or a hobby area or anything like that. And with the kids, we've got so much stuff, and we just don't have enough room to put it all in. So I mean, like that's where like $1 million would be life changing, because you could do a proper house upgrade and do some stuff like that. But $1 billion, I would not know what to do with $1 billion. All right, we've got those areas filled in, so that is a really good step here. Let's take a ride with the Enterprise as I move it around the shop. And I get back to the desk here. And you get a good view out my garage door with the garage door bug screen. Although there are little bugs coming in, attracted by the studio lights. Let's see. Todd says all the beer near. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Let me try that again. Take 2. All the billionaires have nothing but paper and debt, spending loan money as it's not taxable. Yeah, it's all on pay. It's not realized value. Like, there's no way Elon could actualize his on-paper net worth in liquid assets, because it's only valued at that amount. It's not what he would actually get if he liquidated everything. He'd get a fraction of the amount if he tried to liquidate everything, right? Todd also says they put all their stock and options up as collateral and borrow from banks, spend that as income. Yeah, exactly. Dash says he received a note with $1 million attachment to it as a gift. Would you accept it? You received a note with $1 million attachment to it as a gift. Would you accept it? As long as I knew that it wasn't anything fishy, wasn't anything illegal, wasn't anything like that, then yes, I would accept $1 million. Which will never happen. So we don't have to worry about that. Depends on the note. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to make sure that it's all above board, right? You don't want to be taking on anything that would cause you legal issues down the road, right? Let's see. Okay, let's get this camera repositioned. There we go. I'm wondering. So that's as far out. Although I can move the ship further this way. Like the mat, and then I can move the ship even further this way. So I could get the whole back end of the ship in doing it this way if I needed to. That's a good shout. Let's just move. Oh, the only thing I don't like about this setup is the the wire running to the computer. I have to be very careful about that wire. It was running across my desk a little bit, so now I've got it under the desk. And because it's twice now, it's almost knocked my tea, Earl Grey, hot, off of the desk. All right, so now that we've got those in there, what am I going to do next? I should probably, after I fill up my tea Earl Grey hot, I should probably have a look at the gaps on the warp nacelles in front of the chillers that I worked on last night. They're going to need some further work, I believe. So let me reorient this desk a little bit. I've got to remove some trash off of it from the work I've done. Clean up, put up, clean up, pick up, put away. Let's see. Dash says, what if it was from someone you know, but they really don't want anything in return? Again, it would totally depend on the situation. I mean, if I knew the person, I would probably know the situation, and I'd make a decision based on that. Depends on the person, their ability to do that, I guess, the reasoning behind that, the motivation behind it, whether it's a quid pro quo kind of thing, if they're looking for special treatment or some sort of special access to something or whatever. I'd have to take all of those kind of situations into account, I suppose. Stephen Martin's here. Good evening, Stephen. How are you doing tonight? Welcome to the live stream. Dash says, well, our government does exactly that. They have it all in promissory notes to other governments, making you wonder how many people have skimmed off money here and there and gotten away with it. Oh, I have no idea. The political, global, financial shenanigans, I have no idea. I don't understand. Todd says, hey, Stephen. Stephen Martin says, good perspective view. Yeah, trying out a new camera angle here. And Dash is letting me know that I've got 19 minutes left. Thank you, Dash. That's greatly appreciated. Keeping me on track. Just checking out sensor band, thruster pack over on the other side. I thought I'd forgotten to do something, but no, looks good. So, grabbing the tool. I definitely need to build this up some more. Do another round of putty work, of filler work with the epoxy sculpt. I think I'm going to do one more round of epoxy sculpt, and then I can refine it with the perfect plastic putty. Let's see. Alex says, if I won or got that kind of cash, I'd buy land, build a big house, and make it with its own means of producing water, electricity, and such, so I don't have many taxes to pay. Now the bonus to I mean, our lotteries are smaller here in Canada, but I guess the bonus is that if you win $80 million, you get $80 million, because there's you don't pay tax on lottery winnings here. So if you win $80 million, you get $80 million. So I guess that is a bonus, because you'd probably have to pay like half $1 billion in taxes down there if you won $1 billion, right? I mean, still $500 million US. That's still more money than anybody could do with. Everybody saying hello to each other here. If I had if I had unlimited funds available, then we would buy a new house that had all the bedroom space we need. That because right now we only have the bedrooms that we use. We don't have a spare bedroom. So there's we're a 3-bedroom, 2 kids, right? So we don't have a spare. I'd probably want like a good 3-car garage for the workshop, and I'd probably, if there was space on the land, I'd probably look at building a standalone workshop later on down the road when the kids are older. And because right now it's good to be attached to the house if I'm out working and the kids are doing their thing. But redesign a shop to be much better. Get the video equipment and stuff that would be necessary to facilitate things like live streams. What else would I do? We would put money aside for school for the kids. We would put money aside for retirement and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. There we go. And I'd probably have the flexibility to spend a bit more time building models. There we go. But I could not imagine what somebody would do if they won $1 billion in a lotto. Because, I mean, everybody would know, right? Everyone would know. And would you really want everyone to know? I think that's the biggest thing about these lotteries. You win a lump sum of money and everybody knows because it's all advertised, right? Let's see. Todd says lump sum for tonight's drawing is $453 million. I think that is more than enough. Oh, so if you take a lump sum payment, you don't get the full amount? Is that how it works? Dash says we need a 2-minute till self-destruct wave to play when it's time to end the stream. Yeah. Let's see. Take 10% and spend that on all the stuff you want: houses, cars, trips, etc. Invest the other 90%. Live off the compound interest. Never touch the principal money. Yeah. Yeah. Dennis is here. Welcome. Dennis says, what's a good price for an EMT Enterprise D? I found one for $50 Canadian. Not a bad deal. Just out of curiosity, which kit is it? Is it the opaque kit, the clear kit, or the translucent kit? They all have their benefits and they all have their detractors. Although I think the newest release, the translucent kit, is probably the best of both worlds, because if you want to mask or scrape your windows, you can. If you want to open up your windows, you can, because it's simply uncolored styrene, and so it gives it that milky white, translucent nature, but it's still the material is soft enough to be able to open up those windows without fear of breaking, like fracturing your model. The water clear Enterprise Ds that they came out with are great. It was a great idea, but I think it's an ABS, right? If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but the material is very fragile. And so if you're like me and your preference would be to open up the windows, especially the smallest of the windows on the D, where you just don't have adequate amount of adhesive on a window mask for it to stick properly. you still got your flexibility to be able to open them up. So I'd be curious which kit it is, like which version of the kit. So again, I'm just sculpting in the epoxy sculpt. It's in the name, right? So I'm just sculpting it in here to rebuild the hull where this nasty, nasty gap is. I'm struggling with this one side and corner. Dash says, right. There, it's been done. It's been said, right. Also says, that's why you get a lawyer to help with the money and a lawyer to watch the first lawyer. Yeah. Todd says, doing that, it would pay you $750,000 a month in interest and still grow 10 times in 50 years to pass on. Wow, that's ridiculous. Yeah, definitely then invest it wisely and live off the interest. Who can even spend $750K a month? That's just silly. Exactly. That's all that is. It's just like mind-blowing. Alex says depends on what you're buying, I suppose, Todd. Dennis says it's like a milky white. Okay, yeah, so it's the newest one. $50 Canadian for the new version of the 1400 scale Enterprise D kit is a good price. As let's see, the current Canadian retail price. The actual retail price of the 1400 scale Enterprise D kit is $69.99 Canadian from Great Hobbies plus GST, plus HST. So yeah, so here is Great Hobbies. Let me throw this up. Here's Great Hobbies. Here is the AMT 1400 scale Enterprise D. So retail price $69.99 plus HST. So if you can get that kit for $50, you're getting a good deal. You're getting a great deal on that. So yeah, I would pick that up. Okay, where are we here? Oh no, I need a G7. Let's save up a few months. Yeah. Dash says $750K, one John Deere combine. 10 minutes, 9 minutes now. 2 tractors. Yeah. 9 minutes. Dash says, when farm equipment costs $38K for a baler, $38K for a manure spreader, one day old calves are going for $1,000 each. Yeah, I can find stuff to spraying that much. Spend that much. Your farm is too expensive, Todd says. Todd thinks your farm is too expensive. Gotta really love it. Yeah. 7 minutes, 30 seconds. All right. Do we still have some workable epoxy sculpt here? Yeah, we've still got some workable We've still got some workable blah, 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 blah. So let's work with it. Yeah, that one's not too bad. This inner one is not too bad at all. All right, I don't need to do second round on that one. The inner one on this side, I think, is just going to need some sanding before I add any more putty to it. How about this one here? This one's not too bad either. So it looks like it was mostly that one on the other side that really needed the extra work there. So that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. I do have to clean up I've got some perfect plastic putty underneath here. Let me just move this forward a little bit here. You can, if actually, you're not gonna be able to really see underneath here, but this seam in here has some perfect plastic putty. I still need to add some in the inside on both sides, so that's something I'll need to work on. And I've got a nasty bit to work on the inside over here. For fun, let's see if I can get the camera to zoom in on that bit, just so you can see what I'm referring to. Well, that's zoomed in as far as I can get. If I point it out here, there's quite a nasty gouge here from when I was working on the metal armature, so I will need to fill that in, smooth that out. If I've got, what did I do with the, oh, here it is. How much time do I have? 10 minutes, 55 seconds. And you know what? I am going to leave it there as far as work, because the epoxy sculpt I have, I think should be refreshed. So we'll definitely refresh that a bit. So I will do that another time. Let's reposition the camera here. Let's reposition the model, because I don't like to leave it overhanging the work table for very long, because I don't want somebody walking by it and bumping it. There we go. We could come this way a little bit more. There we go. That's better. So tonight we managed to get the wires hooked up here, top and bottom saucer. So top saucer is now connected electronically to the rest of the model. We've got the first bit of the work for refining the neck to saucer line here installed, and it's going to need some more refining, and then there's a whole bunch of other work that has to be done, and got a little bit more work on the nasty gaps on the front of the chiller grills, which is good. So let me get these gloves off and let me get back to base cam. There we go. So let me know in the chat before we go, because we've still got a couple minutes left. Let me know what you think of this. What do you think of the new camera setup for live streams? Is it better? Does it work out better? Is it easier for you to see what's going on? I mean, you can kind of travel with the ship a little bit, right? Travel with the ship a little bit. I mean, it's going to be a little bit bumpy as I'm rolling it, but that's rolling on a wood floor here. So let's get caught, as I'm taking these gloves off, let's get caught up on the chat. Alex says, I'd buy a personal submarine, sailing yacht, and an airplane if I had any leftover money, if I won that much money. I have no desire in any of that stuff. I have no desire to spend the money on that kind of stuff. Let's see. Dash says, and you think farmers are rich? See, you don't know what we pay for parts, so I laugh when I hear someone want to start a farm. Yeah, and it's a lot of work, and you don't get the time off because you have to be there for, especially if you've got animals, right? Cows still have to be milked. Todd says, oh, I know everything is expensive and makes little money. Sounds awful. Where is the good side? Alex says, no, I believe you, Howard. Not only do you have maintenance to pay, but the farm hands to pay too. Todd says, nice work tonight, Andrew. Thank you. I like the new views. Perfect. Alex says, looks so good, Andrew. Thank you. Dash says, need a green screen and a star field now. Well, my plan, because these are probably going to be finished around the same time. So my plan is before they go to the clients, I am going to take them into the studio at work against the green screen and get some good high quality video of the ships together on the green screen and some good quality pictures and all that kind of stuff on the green screen so I can do some compositing and fun stuff with them. So I've got some really nice shots for my website, which I need to update that. I'm horrible at updating my website, all that kind of stuff. Dash says I'd have a Colin Furs tunnel from the house to the man cave. Yeah, I don't know what the Colin Furs tunnel is, but hey, if I had the money to do it and I was building a full shop that was unattached, I would have a tunnel. Because in wintertime, if you don't have to go outside, so much better. Dash says, Alec, you basically looking at the employees I have that work for me. Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, I hope they've enjoyed this live stream. If you did, make sure you hit that like button if you're new to my channel or you haven't done so yet. Why not hit that subscribe button today? You'll make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew. This has been Canadian Starships live stream. I got a few really tiny bugs flying around here. They're attracted to the studio lights. Have a good night, everyone.